Hello, and welcome to WolfPack Talk, a podcast for the Madison College community. I'm Dr. Howard Spearman, Vice President of Student Affairs. Today, we're doing another virtual fireside chat. And today, Jonathan Jones is going to talk about his transition to remote learning and how he is coping with the COVID-19 situation. Jonathan, welcome to WolfPack Talk. Please introduce yourself to the WolfPack family.
My name is Jonathan Jones. I am currently in the liberal arts transfer program going to UW for computer engineering. And my extracurricular activities are I am the president on the Student Senate.
Thank you, Jonathan. What does your community involvement consist of?
So currently with the COVID-19 quarantine, my community impact has been solely on my family. I have two younger children who depend on me pretty much for everything throughout this whole experience. I do also have family members that are immunodeficient that have to do so as well. So family man through and through.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Have you taken online classes in the past?
I have taken online classes in the past. This would be my fourth one this semester that was planned before the quarantine took effect.
So now that the quarantine has taken effect and we're in this new era of COVID-19 and remote learning, how has your transition to online learning been?
Having experience taking online classes in the past has definitely helped understand how important time management is. I think this whole experience has changed me in a fact that it's made me more conscientious of how I use my time and how I plan not only my classwork in the classroom or in this terms on the web, but the classwork outside of the normal hours, how I study, how I do homework, all of that.
Great. So speak to the transition. Has it been a smooth transition for you?
The transition was rocky to begin with, especially considering since I had children at the time. As more information was developing, the elementary school systems had a different timeline of what they were doing rather than the college. So I had to be mindful of my kids' timelines and how their classes were going, as well as accordance to what mine was as well. All this was in conjunction with the fact that I had a job that I actually lost due to the quarantine and needed to find other employment. So now that we're rounding into week 3 of quarantine, it definitely seems like things are starting to smooth out a little bit more. Madison College has definitely helped with that process. The instructors and the faculty have been amazing with helping with being amicable towards schoolwork, making sure that the hours that they are requesting for class time is flexible, and just working with the students overall so that we can all get through this time.
Wow, I appreciate you speaking to your transition. I want to give you another opportunity to speak to any additional challenges you may have had in the transition. As the Vice President of Student Affairs, I try to keep it real with our WolfPack family, your peers. So if there are any other challenges you've had, feel free to share.
The challenges that I've had personally have been mainly financial. Being in the situation I am with my family and being an independent student and a non-traditional student, having the inability to have childcare for my children at this time and having to schedule around, what will work while having them in schoolwork, that has been immensely difficult, as well as also trying to figure out where my place in the community is. Social distancing has definitely taken its impact in terms of my day-to-day life, my social life. When you become isolated like that, I feel like a lot of people, including myself, have a tendency of getting really withdrawn and feeling really just lonely in the world. And I think that one thing that has helped to overcome that has been programs like WolfPack Connect, has been students that have been really incessant on reaching out to one another. And I think that as a community, as long as we keep those channels of communication open, we'll be able to overcome one of the greatest pitfalls in this, which is the isolation.
I thank you for sharing that and just being so real with the WolfPack family. I truly appreciate you being able to share your transition and the experiences that you're dealing with. Now, as we come to end of this week, this is our last day of the first week of us being fully remote. or as we should say, a remote learner. And so I really want to know, is there anything positive that you've been able to take away from this first week since you've been back to school?
A positive I've been able to take after this first week back at school has been the adaptability that the college has in the classroom. I think that one thing that we're going to see leaving this situation after it's over is a certain push for more forms of education being on a hybrid or online platform. And even if not so much to that effect, there's definitely going to be better plans towards making sure that students that would otherwise be unable to take courses, getting them in the classroom and having the ability to do that. And Madison College was great at that to begin with. And now I think this has just given us the opportunity to really flesh out where our current plans that up to this point had been largely untested, where they needed work and helping to patch those weak links, so to speak. So I think leaving this week, the best thing that I could say that I've learned from everything is just that Madison College is extremely adaptable, and the classes just reflect that. Absolutely.
I appreciate you sharing that, and I definitely agree. But I'm glad you're being able to say it, and you've been able to be a witness to the adaptability of the campus. So thank you for sharing. Jonathan, do you have any advice for other students about remote learning?
My advice for anybody that is having issues with remote learning, or just feels that there's something else that they could be doing to make their situation better, would be to definitely work on your time management skills. I understand that you hear that often, especially going into regular college. Just time management, especially on online, is pivotal because it allows you to have a semblance of structure. With a regular classroom, you have four walls, a door, you have a teacher in front of you. There's a lot of structure in the physical nature that gives a lot of stability to your learning environment. Online is sort of in this ether. We don't actually exist on it, but yet we still are required to perform the same amount of work. So I think when you utilize a time management structure, you create those foundations of time management. You plan out your hours per week. You have a set time that you're sitting down to actually study on top of the regular classwork, or the class time that you're required to attend. I think it gives a lot of people that a mimicry of that structure. It makes them know I have to do this at this time. It keeps you focused on your classwork. It makes you feel like you're still engaged in a way that we can very easily lose outside of the physical classroom.
Thank you. The next question is more about your personal journey. What have you learned about yourself in this journey to online education?
I think the biggest thing I learned about myself on this whole journey with online education and switching over to remote access has definitely been that where I thought I was prepared, I wasn't. And at least not to the degree that I thought I was going to be. And with that realization came a cold hard truth that there's a lot of things that we tend to become complacent on. Things that we cut corners, we might not give 100% on, we don't plan as much for. And it isn't until times of crises, as we're seeing now, that many people, not just in the classroom, but in their regular lives as well, are realizing that they are very underprepared for. They are having to answer questions that they didn't have to ask before. And one thing in the college classroom situation in particular is the ability to have that crutch on the physical classroom and on teachers that you're actually seeing face to face as opposed to online classes, where you have the impetus of actually going out and studying and completing the extra work and having to fill in the gaps that the physical classroom once took hold. So for myself, there was a lot of, hard self-realization, soul searching, and realizing that I had allowed myself to pull away from the independent student learner and become dependent upon the infrastructure of the school itself, which was hindering my education. I've definitely seen an improvement in my studies now that I've been forced to sit down and plan out my own study path in accordance with the online resources.
In conclusion, Jonathan, what are your plans after Madison College?
My plans after Madison College are going to be going to UW-Madison for a computer engineering degree and exploring actual options in journalism. And conjunction with that, I feel with everything that's been going on during this experience, that the ability to get information out to people in a reliable and efficient manner is extremely important and something that we need more of in the local community as well as in the statewide and national communities too. And I think that with my interest in advocacy and helping others in situations where they might not have their voices heard is really appealing to me. So moving on from there, it just really depends on where I tend to fit a little bit better in. But from that point on, I'm definitely just looking towards helping my local communities, giving my part into the amazing place that I call home, Wisconsin.
Jonathan, thank you for your time today. And WolfPack family, thank you for listening in. Please share your comments and questions below. And above all, stay safe and healthy. Take care.